One of the first things I remember noticing is how different it was to see English as the second, like, you know how things are big in English and then they have a little Spanish writing underneath it? That was reversed. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm really out of my comfort zone. And then at the airport, there were so many people and nobody's speaking our language, and we're trying to get all our bags, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't understand what's going on. And it was just total shock of the language when we got in the airport.
The second I stepped off the plane, and when we got to Guayaquil, because everybody's talking Spanish and we're trying to go through customs and there's this long line of people. But that was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be a lot harder than I was thinking because I don't know enough Spanish.
Just the architecture is just gorgeous. I mean, their history is so much older than, say, ours in Wisconsin. I mean, their buildings are amazing. A lot of people. It was just a lot of people. It was very busy. Everybody's just doing their thing, and cars are going, people are walking. It's just a very busy city.
First is Paraguay.
When we started this program, the primary focus was to provide students with a professional learning opportunity. The students teach at CEDEI school to learn about the different pedagogical approaches used here versus the ones used in the schools that they are familiar with. The program has turned into much more than that. It's not just a professional training opportunity, it's a personal growth opportunity. And all the students that I've seen this year and last year have shared with me and others that the personal growth they experience, getting to know themselves, and seeing themselves in a totally new way, because now all of a sudden they are a minority. They are among Spanish speakers, people from many different cultures here in Ecuador, and they are seen as strangers, and they view themselves in a way that they have never ever experienced before.
Boys and girls, Gabby's talking. She wants to tell you what she found in her newspaper, so we need to listen.
Being here at school, that being patient is a very great attribute that everybody needs to have, and that things aren't always going to go as planned, and although we're used to having things going as planned as well as we want them to here, that doesn't always happen, and we need to just go with the flow. Everything will get done on its own time.
We talked a lot about like how we've changed, and I think the main word for it here is growth, because you grow in so many different ways. Like, you grow within the school, you grow like within the culture, you grow with your host family, you grow with your cohort too. And I definitely think that I've become more open to the philosophy of CEDEI, and just how much freedom the students have here.
Which one? This one?
The unit that I taught for most of the time I was there was a hands-on unit, and we learned about different like arts and crafts that different cultures do. One of them was weaving, and that's actually pretty prevalent here. They weave a lot of baskets and that type of thing, but obviously I couldn't do that hands-on activity in class because I didn't have the materials. So we weaved placemats, and it was actually a hands-on activity, and the children really, really enjoyed it, and they really liked it, and they turned out super cool. Really neat project.
The children, it's not like the States. They're just all over the place, and I feel like they have a lot more freedom at the school. than they do in the U.S., so it definitely took some getting used to, but I like how they have the freedom to explore on their own, and they definitely are more independent here at the school than they are in the U.S., and I think that's really good, and it allows the children to grow personally as themselves, but then they can also grow together.
When I came here, brought Hayden with, and it's been a very big experience for him and myself. He's grown a lot since we've come here. He's starting to learn a little bit of Spanish. He copies pretty much anything you say, Spanish and English. But I've also seen him thrive socially with meeting new kids his age. He's thrived with his teacher in the classroom and has just become to love her.
We focus on the multiple intelligences, the theory by Howard Gardner, the 8 intelligences. And so by doing that, we try to teach all of our classes not just for in like a lecture mode. We try to have a lot of activity. We prefer to see teachers, in classes, noise and the children moving, and so that we can see that all of their learning styles are incorporated in each lesson.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I think you were here last week.
Te pregunta si ya leíste chapter 4.
I think you were here last week.
Oh, yeah.
Girl, boy, girl, boy, girl, boy. You want this one? Okay.
I think
What did you need?
the realization that special education can work socially without having every minute of the day planned for a child. When we come here, we think, wow, they don't have individual education plans. They don't have an education special ed team, always planning every minute of the day for the child, focusing on goals. It seems very loose when you observe it working here. But socially, it totally works, and I think it gives our students an opportunity to realize that sometimes creating opportunities for inter-age interactions, abilities of at different levels, gives children a chance to self-initiate caring for others without always being told what to do.
You need to make sections because underneath these titles, you'll be writing down different. Okay, so you need to write this down and make sure you have enough room underneath each section.
We're doing a mural for the school.
Estamos realizando una minga. La minga es un trabajo comunitario que tiene una finalidad social. En este caso hemos invitado a toda nuestra familia CEDEI, que son los papás, los niños, los profesores, los estudiantes de Whitewater, y pues estamos haciendo un mural en donde queremos dejar plasmadas nuestras huellas y pues queremos darle vida a la escuela, ¿no? Entonces de eso se trata esta mañana. Bienvenidos y esperamos que nos divirtamos mucho.
We use the leaves and mashing, take out the liquid and mix with food to give it to the rats or something.
Cass was gorgeous, and everything was breathtaking. Looking around, oh my gosh, we're really in the mountains right now. Phenomenal. It was a great hike, extremely exhausting, but it was good because we were able to bond with all the fall semester students and be able to hang out with them and get to know them better. And after an exhausting hike, being able to relax and camp and eat and enjoy each other's company. So that was really nice.
graduate in December. School-Cuenca was another really cool place to go. It was a great experience, but the actual stories behind all the ruins just really made it a whole different experience.
They were occupying this space to breathe, and actually we will see these mountains are called the Andes because of the Andenes, of the Incas Andenes. When the Spaniards came, they saw a lot of these terraces which were used for agriculture or to avoid the erosion of the land. So that is the reason the Spaniards called these mountains Andes. That is the origin of the name.
If I had just gone there without a tour guide and looked, yeah, it's cool, but knowing the stories behind it just brought in a whole new meaning to that experience.
During Cuenca days, it was awesome. First of all, I had my mom and my sister with me, but we got to experience all their different parades and all the beautiful costumes that they wear and their dances and their music, and just to see or compare their traditions of their holiday compared to, say, the United States 4th of July. It's, you know, they're similar because they have parades and there's fireworks and there's, you know, the festivities and celebration, but they're different because we have different traditions and it is a different culture, and it was really neat to be able to experience a holiday in a different country.
The main goal, I would say, is to provide the tools to the students to learn about different cultures, different ways of learning, and for that, in addition to in fact, the teaching practice they are doing every morning in the school, the primary school, we also offer to the students a workshop about the culture in Ecuador. They do have Spanish classes to improve their Spanish. They are visiting different places in Cuenca and the surroundings in order to help them to learn and to appreciate other cultures other than the United States culture.
Saraguro was absolutely gorgeous, and it was so wonderful to be able to see and experience the culture. And even though they don't have a lot of money, They were so welcoming, and they did a performance for us, and they made us special drinks, and they were just so happy to have us there. And even though they didn't have a lot, they were willing to share every single thing that they did have. So it was really, really, really neat to be a part of that culture and see it, and see a different part of Ecuador that lives in such a different way.
Sorry.
Okay.
There. Where is the river? That's the Paki-Shapa River. I'll show you.
Our intention in taking the students there is to show them how an indigenous culture can share their everyday life, I would say. So we visit a typical indigenous house, and they are going to explain how we welcome guests when they are coming from, not only from other countries, but also from other cities or little towns within Ecuador. So part of the ceremony is to offer to the students this little drink called wahango, which is made with the agave plant.
It is called Yawar Mishki in Quechua. Yawar means blood and Mishki sweet, so it's a sweet blood. Okay? Spanish candy.
Bueno, Iskande.
Learn how you need drink.
El indígena seguro toma de esa manera.
Indigenous people drink like this, you're gonna see. Straight. One.
Eso.
Our goal is to show the students how welcoming these people can be, even though they don't have money to share more than that. The most of the time is food, because it's the thing that they can easily get from the land. Potatoes, corn, this drink, wahango. And at the end of the day, usually they get also an Andean dinner with some live Andean music. The students have the opportunity to dance and also to share, because as I already mentioned, the students are here to share as well. We also offer the students, if someone plays the guitar or can sing, they are also invited to perform in front of the group. So it's part of the sharing cultures. And I think that is really important, not only to get what you can get from our culture, but also share what you can share from your culture.
Bueno, papitos, buen provecho, sigan disfrutando la tarde y por favor démosles un fuerte aplauso a las profesoras de Whitewater que ya...
So, coming to the realization that it's the end, it's over, so sad.
I second that.
How it's job, like
I second that.
Yeah, I know.
We're just realizing that it's over, so it's hard. We're the criers of the group.
Yeah. I know it's a hard day. I think all around it's just emotional to leave. So hard to leave the kids, hard to leave the school, leave the experience and everything.
I'm glad you guys came. We're sorry to see you go. I mean, it's just really I wish it could stay longer, 17 weeks or something like that.